All right, everyone, welcome back to RJK English. We're going to start chapter 6. Siddhartha has just left Kamala. He hasn't left Kamala, but she set him up with a job. He's going to work for Kamaswami, who is a very wealthy merchant. And remember, what was Siddhartha told to do when he worked for Kamaswami? Siddhartha said that he could think, fast, and wait. And he also, Kamala was very excited about this, he could read. And he was good at, probably good at numbers as well. He didn't demonstrate that. But she also told him, talk, don't be talked down to like Kamaswami is above you. Speak to him as a peer. We also saw that Siddhartha has a bit of a strange view of the world. He definitely uses the fact that he is a Brahmin in order to get ahead. He also, remember that he didn't think of the first woman he met as a woman somehow, because he said that Kamala was the first woman he had met. He is also sleeping with a prostitute, a courtesan. So he's not really learning love. He's learning physical love and passion, but he's not learning person-to-person love, the love of equals. And we're going to see some things like that about how Siddhartha looks at business. These can be positive and this can be negative. We're just kind of watching how Hessa is revealing his person here, his Siddhartha. Okay, so amongst the people, Siddhartha went to see Kamaswami, the merchant, and was shown into a rich house. He was led into a rich or wealthy house. Servants conducted him. We see this word conducted again, right? They took him across. Servants conducted him across costly carpets to a room where he waited for the master of the house. Kamaswami came in, a supple, lively man with graying hair, with clever, prudent eyes, and a sensual mouth. I'm not sure what to make of a sensual mouth. I don't really know what a sensual mouth would be, but there's a sense that Kamaswami is a man that enjoys life and knows the finer things of life. So it might be that he is cultured, and that maybe his lips are very full. Maybe that's what sensual mouth means. But we also know that Hessa presents the character of his people within their physical looks as well. We see that Siddhartha is a great man. Does it show on his physical appearance? Yes, he's very, very good looking. And he has a regal bearing. He sits upright, things like this. So in the physical features of people, according to Hessa, we're going to see their character. So he's a supple man. Supple means he's strong, but kind of like he can do things with that. He's not stiff. He's a lively man, graying hair, so he has wisdom, clever and prudent eyes, and a sensual mouth. So we see his character. He's a business person that's very good at making clever decisions. He can change course quickly to meet the needs of the moment. This makes him a good businessman, and he enjoys the finer things of life. Master and visitor greeted each other in a friendly manner. Who's the master? Kamaswami. Who's the visitor? Siddhartha. Kamaswami has never met him. I have been told, the merchant began, that you are a Brahmin, a learned man, but that you seek service with a merchant. Remember, merchants would be a different caste than Brahmins. They would be Vaishyas. Gandhi, if you know Gandhi, he was a Vaishya. A certain type of Vaishya, I forget what they were called. Bunda or something like that. Anyways, I see that you are a Brahmin, a learned man, but that you seek service with a merchant. Are you then in need, Brahmin, that you seek service? Are you needy? Do you need things? Are you poor? No, replied Siddhartha. I'm not in need, and I have never been in need. I have come from the Samanas with whom I lived a long time. If you come from the Samanas, how is it that you are not in need? Are not all the Samanas completely without possessions? So what is in need? In need means you're needy, you're hungry, you need someone to give you money so that you can buy things, you don't have them yourself. Siddhartha is saying he's not in need. Kamaswami is pointing out that he's a samana, they don't own things. I possess nothing, said Siddhartha, if that's what you mean. I am certainly without possessions, but of my own free will, so that I am not in need. So Siddhartha is without possessions by his own choice. Now that would make him different from most poor people, right? But how will you live if you are without possessions? Now notice we're switching between people here because you have the closed quotes. I have never thought about it, sir. I have been without possessions for nearly 3 years, and I have never thought on what I should live. He has never thought about how to provide for himself. So you have lived on the possessions of others. Apparently, Kamaswami is trying to trap him, and Siddhartha is getting out of it. Apparently, the merchant also lives on the possession of others. He turns it, we call this turning the tables on someone. Someone claims something about you, and you claim that the same is about them. You turn the tables on them. Apparently, the merchant also lives on the possession of others. Well spoken, said Kamaswami. But he does not take from others for nothing. He gives goods in exchange. That seems to be the way of things. Everyone takes, everyone gives. Life is like that. Siddhartha, we would say he's not being pinned down. He's not being pinned down to a certain way, like saying he's not revealing exactly what he thinks. He's evading the attacks of Kamaswami. Kamaswami is jousting with him verbally right now. Life is like that. Said Kamaswami. But if you were without possessions, how can you give? Everyone gives what he has. The soldier gives strength. The merchant goods. Goods means items. This is, if I'm selling these cups, these are goods. Okay. The merchant goods. The teacher instruction. The farmer rice. The fisherman fish. Very well. And what can you give? What have you learned that you can give? I can think. This is Siddhartha. I can think. I can wait. And I can fast. Is that all? Said Kamaswami. I think that's all. Of what use are they? For example, fasting, what good is that? Siddhartha is replying now. It is of great value, sir. If a man has nothing to eat, fasting is the most intelligent thing he can do. Quite a statement, huh? If you are eating, why don't you fast instead? Well, you're already not eating. So, are you fasting when you don't have any food? That's kind of a funny way of thinking about it, but it's a smart reply. If for instance, Siddhartha had not learned to fast, he would have to seek some kind of work today, either with you or elsewhere, for hunger would have driven him. But as it is, Siddhartha can wait calmly. He is not impatient. He is not in need. He can ward off hunger for a long time and laugh at it. Therefore, fasting is useful, sir. Very interesting. You are right, Samana. Wait a moment. Kamaswami went out and returned with a roll, which he handed to the guest and inquired, can you read this? This would be a scroll. They used to write and then roll up what is written. Kamaswami hands it to Siddhartha. Can you read this? Siddhartha looked at the roll on which a sales agreement was written and began to read the contents. Excellent, said Kamaswami. And will you write something for me on this sheet? Kamaswami is testing him. This will often happen when you go to a job interview. You will be tested. He gave him a sheet and a pen, and Siddhartha wrote something and returned the sheet. So Siddhartha just wrote whatever he wanted and returned it to Kamaswami. Kamaswami read what Siddhartha wrote. It says, writing is good, thinking is better, cleverness is good, patience is better. Who has cleverness? Kamaswami. Who has patience? Siddhartha. Right? You write very well, the merchant praised him. We shall still have plenty to discuss, but today I invite you to be my guest and live in my house. This is often how people will talk when they're selling something to you or when they're looking to hire you. They'll say, we have a lot more to discuss. They're not going to offer you something right away. They try to keep the power, right? They try to show that they are in power and you are waiting on them. Siddhartha thanked him and accepted. He now lived in the merchant's house. Clothes and shoes. Did I miss? No, he invited him as a guest to live in the house. Okay. Clothes and shoes were brought to him, and a servant prepared him a bath daily. So Siddhartha is living with him for a long time here. Splendid meals were served twice a day, but Siddhartha only ate once a day, and neither ate meat nor drank wine. Kamaswami talked to him about his business. Kamaswami talked to Siddhartha about Kamaswami's business, showed him goods and warehouses and accounts. Siddhartha learned many new things. He heard much and said little. And remembering Kamala's words, he was never servile to the merchant, never acted as a servant, never acted below the merchant, who is Kamaswami, but compelled him to treat him as an equal, and even more than his equal, maybe even above him, compelled him. Siddhartha compelled Kamaswami to act in a certain way. Kamaswami conducted his business with care and often with passion, but Siddhartha regarded it all as a game, the rules of which he endeavored to learn well, but which did not stir his heart. So we're going to stop here for this lesson. This is key here. Siddhartha experiences the world, but he does not let it enter his heart. He plays it as a game. And I have to refer to Japanese culture on this. I have heard this, and I've tried to talk to Japanese about this, so that I don't know how true this is, but there is a way of talking amongst royalty, supposedly in Japan, where everything is about playing at. So you would not say, are you going to work today? You would say, are you going to play at going to work today? You even wouldn't ask someone if they're going to die. You would say, are you playing at dying? Like the person is living a life of leisure where they can just choose to do things as they want. They don't need anything. Siddhartha doesn't own anything, and yet he's acting in the same way. He's not taking too much of food. He's only taking one meal. He's not drinking wine or eating meat, right? He's not letting his passions be in what he's doing. And what does that do? It makes him aloof. We would call this aloof. It makes Kamaswami not have a whole lot of power over him. This reminds me of, if you ever watch Japanese gangster films, I like the films by Kitano Takeshi, or Takeshi Kitano. He is usually a gangster, and he's at the top, but he never overdoes it as a gangster. He almost takes it as a game. And in the end, he takes his own life because it's all a game to him. It reminds me of this. So by not taking part in the drinking of wine or getting too passionate, Siddhartha remains above it. And in that way, he is not a servant of Kamaswami. It's quite an interesting concept. So we're going to stop here and start on the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this with one other person who is also learning English. By the end, you're going to have read a whole English book. Hit me up on RJK English on Facebook and we can talk further. All right, see you next time.